I'm Mitch,
And I'm Todd.
and we are the Geeks. So this is a weekly show where we talk about tech news, games, and movies and TV. What's up with you, Todd? Hi, I'm Mitch.
Well, it's
And I'm
a nice
Todd.
3-day weekend. I'm trying to get a lot of stuff done. I've put off, the growing saga of me doing the yard. It's just gone on. And what I'm doing now is my deck is a disaster area. It has giant holes in it that you could fall through. And so I spent the day like cleaning it off, getting it all nice and clean. But before I put new boards down, I need a saw. And my miter saw that I had, my electric miter saw, stopped working. And I read on the internet, and you can believe everything you read on the internet, that a lot of times the switch goes bad, and it's a pretty simple fix. So I took the thing apart this morning, and I got down to this little box inside that's the trigger mechanism, and it has a hole on each side, or it has two poles on each side. So basically it's completing a circuit that turns it on and off. So what I did was I unscrewed these two screws, screwed them in here, thereby jumping out the switch, plugged it in, it fired right up. So my plan was to open up this box and then see if I could fix the innards, get it loose if it was caught or something. And I opened it up and springs shot everywhere, right by my head. So I said, well, there won't be any fixing this damn thing. So I went up on Amazon, found one just like it for $9. Great. I ordered it. I went back downstairs. I put the thing back together, and I decided, well, I'll go ahead and jump it out and leave it jumped out for now. And I'll just use like a power tree and turn it on and off with a power adapter or whatever the hell you call them. And so I got it all back together, screwed together, plug it in for a second to make sure it's working, and it made like this really sound, and then smoke starts pouring out of it. So there's $100 up in smoke, literally.
So maybe jumping it was not a great idea.
Well, I think the problem was when I snapped the box back together was the problem, and trying to, I didn't want to leave an empty space where the box was, but because the springs had gone everywhere, when I snapped it back together, they were probably making a connection from the positive to the negative side and shorting out the inside. And so, jumping it out was probably fine. It was just that when I took it apart and all the metal flew everywhere and I just shoved it back together, that was probably the big mistake that cost me $100. And I had to run upstairs and cancel the order for the switch because that's not going to do me any good now. So that's how my morning went. How did your morning go?
It wasn't too bad. We got up early. The boy and I went over and got haircuts. Just, nothing special.
Well, getting your hair shortened is always a good thing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we really like to go. We've got a barbershop we go to, and it's a thing that we do together now.
Is there by any chance a barbershop quartet there that, serenades you in harmony while you're getting your haircut?
No, we just pay too much money for haircuts.
Oh, that's sad.
But
Are they looking for a barbershop quartet?
No, I don't think they're looking for one.
All right, fine.
All right, so before we start, we do want to mention a few people since the last time we had a show who have fallen since then. So I hate to start on a down note, but it would be criminal if we did not mention these names. So you want to start off a list?
Yeah, let's start from the bottom and work our way up, because for me, the one at the top was the biggest one for me. So
Okay.
at the bottom, we have Michael Parks, actor, kind of a character actor who's a big face in Kevin Smith and Quentin Tarantino movies. As a matter of fact, in Kill Bill Volume 2, he plays two different parts in that. He plays the Mexican brothel owner at the end, and he also plays a character, a Texas Ranger, that recurs in several of Quentin Tarantino's movies. That character does, including Dusk Till Dawn. Michael Parks is a great actor, been around a long time, and we lost him. And you want to do the next one that really upset me?
But yeah, and just to say one thing about Michael Parks, it's one of those characters that you see all the time, and you know him when you see him, but I didn't know his name, unfortunately, but I definitely enjoyed the things he was in. Yeah, so next up on the list, we had Powers Booth, who died.
I had no idea.
Sadly.
When you told me he died, I was no, not Powers Booth. No way, dude's not that old. Yeah. So I had a note here. Is he another victim of the Agents of Shield curse? Because we lost Bill Paxton, who was a bad guy on Agents of Shield, and now Powers Booth was a bad guy on Agents of Shield. And I'm just kidding. There's no connection there. But good lord, that guy was in movies around for a long time, doing a lot of things from Tombstone. Um, what was the character he played in Tombstone? Something Bill or I can't remember.
I don't
My,
remember.
mem- my memory is horrible. But he
Which
was
one
the guy
was
in the red
Tombstone?
shirt.
Was that the one with
Curly Bill. He played Curly Bill.
I can't ever
But
remember which one's which, Tombstone or Wyatt Earp.
the Tombstone is the one with Kurt Russell and Sam Elliott and Bill Paxton. Yeah.
Ah,
So
okay.
so that was sad to hear Powers Booth dying because guy's been around a long time, been in a lot of things. And the last one that we have on the list is the one that really hit home for me, Chris Cornell. Losing Chris Cornell, a guy who I consider to be sort of a contemporary age-wise, and like a lot of the grunge singers, I love grunge. It was just an awakening for me musically when I started hearing grunge. When I heard the songs Jeremy, Black Hole Sun, um, Smells Like Teen Spirit. I was just totally in on the Seattle sound. But I loved Chris Cornell's voice. I thought he was super talented.
He had an
His
amazing
acoustic,
voice.
oh, just an amazing talent. I've got this video of him doing Black Hole Sun acoustically, where he's just sitting there in flip flops and shorts playing his acoustic guitar and singing, and it's just a mesmerizing performance. And I guess everybody has demons. Maybe that's where all this creativity he had comes from a dark place or something. It finally got the better of him. I don't know, but it was when I was getting ready to go to work, and my wife, she was on the computer like she does in the morning, and she says, "Who's Chris Cornell?" And I went, "Oh no, no," because usually whenever she's on there, she goes, "Who's so and so?" Next word's gonna be, "Well, they died." And
Hmm.
so, sure enough, she said, "Well, he died last night," and I was it felt like somebody punched me in the stomach. I was just really upset. So, huge body of work, and hearts go out to his family and all the other fans of Chris Cornell and Soundgarden and Audio Slave and yeah,
At Temple of the Dog.
Temple of the Dog. Yeah.
He did some solo stuff there for a little bit. Yeah, but they just got together. Soundgarden just got back together again, and they were touring. And apparently, he did a show the night he died.
Yeah, and I don't like the news that's coming out now. You're hearing all kinds of things, and I don't not believe it because I saw some pictures of him recently from shows and stuff, and to me, it kind of looked like he was on something. And what are you gonna do? It's tragic. It's an American tragedy, and that leaves that basically leaves Eddie Vedder as the last Seattle frontman standing. Um, So, hopefully, Eddie is kind of an earthy sort of hippie guy who takes care of himself, I think. And so I think he'll be around a long time. Um,
Outlive all of us.
yeah, he'll probably outlive all of us. Um, and of course, I saw a meme that had his picture and it said, "There can be only one." And I thought that was distasteful and horrible. But then I was, of course, reminded that no, there is another. There's Matt Dillon's character from Cliff and the band Citizen Dick from the movie Singles from the Seattle.
No!
So Matt Dillon, wherever you are, run, look out.
Always
So
two there are.
yes. So see you guys, Chris, Powers, and Michael. Godspeed to wherever you go into the great beyond.
Yep.
And so now that we've brought the show down to with all this death talk, maybe we should go to Geek News
All
or
right.
Tech
Yeah.
News with the geeks. I'm sorry, Geek News is probably is probably copyrighted or whatever it is by Kevin Smith. So let's say Tech News. There we go.
All right. So let's start this off on a light note. After that opening, man sues date for $17 for texting during Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Frivolous lawsuit? We think not. If I'm in there and I'm watching Guardians of the Galaxy 2, please do not be texting on your phone. I'm trying to watch the movie. It's distracting when you have your tick, 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 tick on your phone. Please don't do it. If you do it, I'm going to sue you. Only thing is, if I sued my wife for that, if we were at the theater, it's just coming out of my bank account anyway. So what's the point?
$17, is that like including popcorn and a drink? And if so, what kind of deal did he get?
17 is not a lot. I don't know what theater he went to where he could get popcorn and drink and tickets for $17.
Yeah, I guess it was just her ticket.
Well, even so, her ticket was probably $10, and then $7 for popcorn. Maybe it was her part of the popcorn.
Anyway, so
I
uh,
thought that was a good story. I like that one.
a nice message to get, unlike texting during a freaking movie. Uh, a a message in a bottle arrived in Nova Scotia after 60 years. So this was part of the a Guinness advertisement in the 60s. They dropped 150,000 bottles into the ocean, and one of them washed up onshore this year after 60 years out in the water.
60 years. It's
Yeah,
about time.
that's right.
So this kind of reminded me of the story that also hit this week about one of the Pitcairn Islands. Um, I can't remember the name of the island now. It's Johnson Island, something like that. And they have all this trash. There's nobody on this island. No human beings are on this island, but the beach there is completely littered with trash. You can go there on Google Maps and you can go down and walk along the beach and see all the litter and the debris, including a crap ton of bottles. Who knows how many messages are in there? There's probably a lot of lost people out there stranded on islands waiting for help, and their bottles sitting there on that Pitcairn Island, and no help is coming. The other thing I thought was kind of funny was there was a stolen from Tally's crate, plastic crate on the island. And so I did a little internet research, and apparently that's a whole thing. You can find those on beaches here and there
Did,
throughout the world. This
did
Tally's
you ever
place.
figure out where Tally's is?
I never figured out where Tally's was. I did get a picture of a guy on a wharf somewhere holding a whole stack of them that says stolen from Tally's, but I don't know where Tally's is. But apparently their things end up all over the world, washed up on beaches. So maybe if you don't have a bottle to put a message in, put your message in a Tally's crate and send it out. It's probably more likely to get there.
It'll get there sometime.
There are some people who aren't going to be able to send a bottle out when they get stranded where they're going.
Oh yeah.
That's my horrible segue into the NASA's mission to Mars,
Yeah.
which
So
comes with a free 1 year vacation on the moon included. Yay!
yeah.
So what's the deal with this?
Yeah, I'm trying to look over the story here real quick, but it looks like part of their plan to get to Mars includes spending a year on the moon um, before they go. Let's see here. Yeah,
So,
I don't have anything handy here, but
well, that sounds like a fun trip. I mean, giant steps I watch you take walking on the moon. So I hope my leg don't break walking on the moon.
so the deal is they're going to be orbiting the moon as they deliver the crew habitat, the science research module, and they're going to build the ship in orbit. Um, that's going to go to Mars. They're not going to launch it all as one piece out of Earth's gravity, and so it'll take a year to put together, and then they'll send them on to Mars.
Oh, that's cool. That reminded me of a story we didn't put in here, but we put it into our Slack channel that I was talking to my son about. And I went into Wikipedia too. There's a space or asteroid mining page on Wikipedia that has a breakdown of what they think the value of different asteroids were. And I didn't see anything that came close to this asteroid Psyche that this article claims is worth 10,000 quadrillion dollars, which when you put that up there, I was like, that is a total made up figure. That's like a bazillion. It's completely made up.
Now, how many's a Brazilian again?
Uh, I don't know, but it's big. It's how many is a Brazilian? It's a lot of chimichangas and a lot of wax. Boom, boom. All right. So that's what NASA is looking at doing. Think about what that would do to precious metals. We've talked about asteroid mining and how many heavy metals are out there in the asteroids, rare earth metals or I guess it wouldn't be earth metals, but things that we use for a lot of things like iron and nickel and platinum and other things like that, um, would come in handy. And I particularly think it's useful when we start to go out into space to be able to take the stuff in space, mine it in space, convert it over to something usable in space, and build what we want to use to travel in space, kind of like they do in Star Trek.
You want
You
to
know,
be
they're
able to
not
refine
building.
in space.
Well, you need to be in space to be able to cheaply refine something like titanium because you need to do it in a vacuum. So, refining titanium metal, that's something you could do in space, in the vacuum of space easily. Well, I don't know how easily it would be,
I don't know
but
anything about it.
I was researching a little bit. It just you have to add certain things like nickel and aluminum and steel to titanium and to make titanium metal, and it needs to be done in a vacuum because of the way it solidifies or whatever and dries. So that's why one of the reasons why titanium is so expensive. It's because
Hmm.
it's difficult to make here. There's a great story in this book called Running Critical about the making of the Los Angeles class submarines and how I guess we sent a spy over into a factory in Russia to find out they were making submarines out of titanium with titanium hulls. And it's a long, drawn out story, and I'm getting us off the segue, but it's just one of the many uses in space is you could build things in space. If you go back and you watch Star Trek, when they build the Enterprise, they're doing it in space. Why? You don't have to burn all that energy getting off the planet.
Right.
So mine this stuff while it's out there, make it while it's out there, and you can actually open up a little chimichanga stand up in space, and imagine how cool that would be. I'm concluding my space rant now.
Space
All
rant
right,
off.
space rant over. Tell me about the U.S. Army. Are they going to let me in and send me to boot camp?
Well, if you're going to be part of their IT squad, yeah, uh, working on was it the anti-hacking group or whatever, they're thinking about letting you skip boot camp. Why not? Too many guys are put off by the whole. I've got to run. I've got to give up my Cheetos and Mountain Dew diet.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about this. On the one hand, I get it. You want to get these guys in, you don't want to scare them off because they'd be a valuable asset to the Army. On the other hand, they probably could use a little getting in shape. Everybody could use just a little bit of boot camp. Maybe not a really hard boot camp. You could tailor the boot camp for IT geeks. You have some all night LAN parties with some Red Bull and some Cheetos, and you know,
I could
just
use a little trip back to boot camp.
yeah, you don't have to completely get rid of boot camp. Just don't have them running around in the mud with rifles that they're never going to shoot. Gear the boot camp to their particular set of skills. I have a particular set of skills that make me a nightmare for your computer. All right. Um, I love the next story. I think the next
So
story is just great.
I'm just going to read the headline of the next one, and then we can break it down into all the juicy bits. 11-year-old gets a used copy of GTA 5 and finds a bag of meth inside.
Yeah. So first, let's take this in two parts. First of all, who thought it was a good idea to give an 11-year-old Grand Theft Auto? Has anybody ever played that game? I bet his parents have never played the game. They think, oh, it's just a car game. And you're stealing cars, shooting people, and slapping women around. If you're going to be doing all that, you might as well be tweaking on meth, right? I guess. I don't know. That's the second part of the thing. A bag of meth inside. Oh, so does that mean somebody got so tweaked out of their mind on meth that they took their bag in there, forgot they did it, and then went and sold the used copy of GTA 5 and then went and bought some more meth?
Or somebody was hiding their stash in their video games, and then they went to prison, and then mom says, while they're in prison, I'm selling all their crap.
Uh, that could be it. Oh, I don't know. Hopefully the 11-year-old didn't smoke the meth, and then didn't get bitten by the meth bug and go get an RV and go out in the desert and start making meth. Could you imagine 11-year-old Walter White? The world just doesn't need that. Ah, yeah, 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 yeah.
Think of the children. Look in the case there, GameStop. Maybe the
Suffer the little
GameStop
children.
the GameStop employee. He was like, "Ooh, shit! I need to hide my meth real quick."
Wait a minute. No, no, that was not what happened. We are not saying that. We do not want to get sued by GameStop. That is strictly conjecture. That's fake news. All right, and on to this really should have broke at Christmas time, right before Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer came out.
Yeah. Oh.
What are the deer up to, Mitch?
Did you? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So scientists caught a deer eating a human carcass for the first time.
So, gee, I think I'm gonna eat a person since they won't let me guide the sleigh tonight.
I just, the red nose because he's, face down and guts.
Oh,
If I've got to
man.
explain it, anyway. So yeah,
Right.
so scientists were doing a study where they put out a stop motion camera in the woods, and they put out a human cadaver to see what the natural animals would do to a human carcass. And as part of this study, when they got back the video, they found a deer eating some guy's rib bone.
That sounds like the darkest one of the Far Sides ever. It's like a Far Side that's gone really, really dark. The camera comes up and the deer all eating people. Whoops. Quick, back to the grass. Are they gone? Back to the bodies. All right. Well, I was going to donate my body to science, but I don't want to get eaten by Bambi. That gives a whole new meaning to the opening of Bambi when his mom goes, "Man is in the forest." They get out their forks. Woo!
Terrible.
Terrible. All right. So let's go around the world from the North Pole down to Japan. It's big in Japan. What's big in Japan now, Mitch?
So Japan has a service where you can impress your date by beating up bad guys, some thugs. You can hire.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
You can hire a service at this theme park where you have to go through a training session ahead of time, but then you go in and on schedule, two guys will come up and start messing with you, and you can impress your date by kicking their ass in the middle of the park.
I just want to see that. So, you have a beautiful date. We will take her. No, you won't.
I will fight you now.
And I killed your master. No! What a great service. Do we have anything like that yet here in the U.S.? We could start that. Do I look thuggy enough I could go around and pretend to attack people? The Grizzled Thugs. This week on a very special Grizzled Thug. All right. Well, they have it all in Japan. As wacky as any wacky thing you can think of, they're doing it in Japan. That's what happens when you nuke somebody, I guess. Radiation on the brain. You know what would make it better?
I'm
gonna get sued by
opinions
Japan.
and thoughts of Todd here on the show. His own his opinions are his own.
That's right.
Moving on.
Moving on. All right. From bad to worse. Okay, so we have parents who have adopted children who apparently adopted them just so they could go out and prank them all the time and record it and put it on YouTube. Apparently, that didn't work out well for them. They've lost custody of these children. I don't know if it's permanent or till they get some sort of therapy to get over their pranking addiction.
Yeah, so I'm bringing up the article again. From what I remember when I read this, and it's been a week and a half. We've been away from the show for about 3 weeks at this point. A little hiatus. Just life caught up and we were kind of busy. But
tell them the truth, Mitch. We've been fighting. Mitch said I'd put on a few pounds, and it really hurt when he said that, and I couldn't look at him for weeks.
I told him, if you've never seen Goonies, I can't do a geek podcast with you.
I keep seeing the same part of Goonies.
A fan now.
I've seen Goonies the first half hour 6 times, and I've never made it past it. Something's always happened. Last time I was watching it, My wife came and was like, "We have to go. We got to go do something." I was like, "But And so then I recorded it, and then our DVR filled up to 100%. And guess what had to get deleted? The Goonies. So my second loot crate came in, and this was the shirt that was in the loot crate. So at least I can actually wear this shirt, unlike the one that came with the first one, which would have been totally inappropriate to wear, in my opinion, for a grown man to be wearing the Stranger Things one with the girl from Stranger Things in her little pink dress on the front. It just would have been creepy. So that one I'm giving to my daughter, and she's going to wear it as a nightshirt because it's an extra large and it would be huge on her.
Well, there you go.
So I've totally taken us off track, but yes, we've been away a while, and we're back, and we're going to try to get back on a regular basis, back to enjoying what we do, which is putting together quality entertainment for people to enjoy.
Yep.
So
Back to the article though. Apparently the YouTube channel was called Daddy of Five, and he had 5 kids, and they were pranking these kids various ways on TV or on camera, and a couple of these kids were adopted. The state came in, took those 2 kids out of the house, and they've taken down all of the videos after that, and they've since put up a public apology. That's the only thing they have up there, and I think they're just pretty much done.
that's the dark side of everybody getting cameras and YouTube accounts, and it's bad enough that we're all out here podcasting, but at least I'm not dragging my kids in here and making them get on with me. All right, well, on to something more fun. It's game time.
Yeah, game time with the geeks.
You must recover all the energy immediately, Mega Man.
That sound can only mean game time with geeks.
Game time. What is that sound effect from?
It's somebody doing a really bad, like, overdub of like a Mega Man game.
You must recover all the energy immediately, Mega Man.
It's terrible.
It gets better every time you play it. Hold on.
You must recover all the energy immediately, Mega Man.
Oh my god, that just reminded me. So today, my son and I were kind of pranking my wife and my daughters. We were playing the song 500 Miles, and I would walk 500 miles. Well, we were playing it over and over and over again. And because apparently that was a bit on How I Met Your Mother. So my son, while we were working outside on the deck, he's playing it over and over again. It turns out it's great music to work on the deck and dig to. I mean, if you're digging up dirt and you're moving stuff around, great music to do that too. And at one point, both of us marching into my bedroom while my wife and daughters were in there with the music blaring, and we were just standing there doing a little dancing. The joke was on us. They recorded the whole damn thing and put it on Facebook. So
I was gonna say you got the right idea. You're wearing the red shirt, so the bad guys can't see you bleed.
That's right. I should have brown pants on too. All right. So red shirts and brown pants. Destiny 2. What's the deal with Destiny 2? When is it coming out?
So I think we talked about it on the show once before. September 8th, I believe, is the launch date for it. It's coming out on PC, PS4, and Xbone. And the news that I had on here, or at least what I wanted to talk about, the PC version, I guess because it's part of Activision, they're going to use Battle.net, Blizzard's Battle.net, for the service to be able to connect people up. It's the first non-Blizzard game that they've ever used in the Battle.net launcher. So I thought that was kind of new. It was a nice precedent. I've been spending a lot of time in Battle.net launcher here recently. They had the Heroes 2.0 event a couple of weeks ago. We played a couple of games on that one, although I don't know that we streamed any of it. And then right now, Destiny this weekend, or not Destiny, Overwatch this weekend has a free weekend. So if you're listening to this and haven't played Overwatch yet, they got a free weekend going this weekend. And been playing a lot of that. They've got some new skins and that kind of stuff for the event, the first year anniversary event going on right now.
I have the PS4 version, and unfortunately we can't connect that way. I could get the free weekend includes PC, right?
Yeah, it includes PC, and then this weekend as well. It's like $20 off for the game, so it brings it down to $30, I think, which
I've been
isn't
able
too
to do
bad.
any PC gaming because my son. Well, first of all, I got to climb over all my daughter's stuff she brought back from college to get to the PC, the gaming
Right.
PC. And if I do go to that trouble, I will find my son there playing CS:GO. Since he's out of school now, he's been CS gone constantly. But I would like to get on there and do it. I just don't know what I'm gonna be able to do it this weekend. Tell me about Prey. I,
So,
um, I time to get out my old Prey box again.
new version of Prey. I picked it up when it launched. I was into the idea of being able to turn into different objects, that kind of stuff. So I've played a little bit, and it's on the back shelf again for me.
Oh,
It's
why? What happened?
it's not a bad game. It's just one of those things where I get distracted and start doing something else, and you know that's the way I play these kind of games anyway. So FPS type game, it feels very much like the Deus Ex Machina type games. The skill trees and kind of the whole feel of the game really, just set in space. The campaign so far is kind of okay. The one thing it really does a good job at is jump scares. Those little things. I I'm swinging a wrench at just about anything. You see two of anything sitting anywhere, I'm swinging a wrench at both of them to find out which one's a mimic.
Oh, that's funny. God damn it! I should have grabbed some caffeine instead of water when I came in here. Um, there was another game that I wanted to ask you about that I thought you had. Is it not Danger Close? What's the space game that's a lot like
Oh, Elite Dangerous.
Elite Dangerous? Did you get Elite Dangerous?
I got it when it came out, like a year or two ago, and
They've
I
been
played a
hitting the
little
hell
bit.
out of us with the ads lately for that.
I
Everything
know.
that what's going on? Have they come out with like a new version or an update or something?
Yeah, so the last time I played it, it was just the pretty much the single player thing. Now it's multi crew ships. I think you can do space. You can land on planets. Those kinds of things. Um, the game just it didn't really engage me that well, so I never really
Hmm.
got into it.
Maybe I should try it. I mean, for God's sakes, I got like an hour to myself today to do whatever I wanted. So I came down here, turned on the PlayStation, and played No Man's Sky.
At least you didn't sit for an hour play Fallout Shelter like I did.
Oh, were you back in Fallout again?
Uh, oh, I did Fallout Shelter and then I did Fallout 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm doing some
What's
of the DLC.
Oh, okay. I'd like to get the DLC for Fallout 4,
I'm
but
doing Fahaba.
yeah, that I want to get that, but I don't know. It's a time thing. Maybe if I ever get caught up on all the crap I'm doing around the house, I'll get back to being able to do some fun stuff.
Well, and the thing that I really wanted to do today, which I didn't do at all because I was playing, Fallout, was play some Overwatch.
Oh, all right. I wish I had a waitress that'd be like, Garcon, I need coffee. Garcon means
Kohiyone
boy.
Kojimasu.
All right. So Bethesda. This makes me unhappy with Bethesda.
So this is related to Prey, but
Yeah.
not to my. And I'm enjoying Prey. Just to finish out the thoughts on that, and I'm not I'm not tired of the game. I'm just not playing it right now, and that's more about the way that I play games than about Prey itself. It's not a great game. It's not an amazing game. A game that's going to keep me there until it's done. But there are very few games that do that.
It's getting harder and harder to be surprised by games and engaging, and it really is. Any if you'd had something like Prey that came out 15 years ago, well, you would just be crapping all over yourself at how great this game is. But we get desensitized to this as better and better games come out. It takes more and more to get a better high as a gamer, and so I can't even tell you what it takes to get a game that truly engages me these days.
Yeah. I mean, Overwatch is doing it for me right now. That's a game that, no matter how many times I step away from it, I always come back. I always get in, and I always remember how much fun it is.
I like Titanfall too. I've been playing, a good bit of that. I was stuck on Call of Duty for a long time, and then for a while thereafter, Tim, and I played Rocket League, and he showed me the other mode to play where you get
The
the little
battle
things,
mode.
battle mode, and you're blowing people up, and I played that a lot for like the next 2 weeks after we played. I was obsessed with that. So, and the amazing thing about that game is that little X factor of enjoyment in a game that's pretty damn simple. It's soccer with cars. And so this is something they could have done 15 years ago. But somebody stumbled upon this formula. Hey, let's make these cool cars. We'll put a giant soccer ball out there and let people go out. And it is fun as hell. It doesn't have to be a shooting game with, first person view with a very photorealistic world that you're in. No, it's just an arena, cars riding around. It's fun as hell. So there's still something to be said about great gameplay over graphics, which I never thought I would say because I've always been a big fan of great graphics, But what is the graphics like in the Prey? Are they really advanced or?
I mean, they're pretty decent. It's a cross between, like I said, the Deus Ex games. Kind of. It's not completely photorealistic, but it's going in that direction. Um, it's not cartoony or anything like that. I don't know if you ever played Dishonored.
No.
So it's very similar in look and feel to Dishonored, the Deus Ex games, those kinds of things.
I've been Dishonored, but I've never played Dishonored.
Dishonored's a fun game. You should you should pick that up at some point.
All
But
right.
yeah, so it's a decent looking game, but I keep cutting you off.
You do?
Article, yeah, I do. But Bethesda indie developer threatens indie developer with lawsuit for using Prey in the title of their game. That's what you're trying to get out, and I cut you off twice doing it.
Oh, well, yeah. That's as much as I love Bethesda games, and I like what they do. It just goes to show that power can drive anybody crazy. And this is crazy. There's no other word for this. The name of the game is Pray for the Gods, and they're freaking out over using the word pray. What if some company came out with a game called The, and then started suing everybody for using The in the title? It's asinine. It really is. I can understand if they used images from the Prey series, if they were similar gameplay, and then they threw Prey in there to try to trick people, then I would get it. But if the game is completely different style, completely different universe, nothing to do with the Prey game, then they're just being assholes.
Yeah,
Plain and simple.
I mean, so to some degree, yes. To some degree, they might have a legal obligation to either threaten to sue them or at least file for some kind of suit in order to maintain the trademark on the name Prey. That might just be stupid lawyer shit getting in the way and making them look like
Yeah,
asshats.
and you know what? This one I do stand by. If they got a problem with it, screw you, because I stand by my statement. You're being a bunch of asshats and going after some small indie developer for something like this. Um, I won't, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna boycott the game or anything like that. It just,
This is outrageous!
yeah, you're just being a bunch of dickwads. So that's all there
Right.
is to it. But I won't give you my opinion of lawyers and lawsuits in general.
Huh.
But yeah, um,
Lawyers are like assholes.
yeah, exactly. So the last thing we have on a game, which is a great segue into Showtime with the Geeks because it's crossing the streams, man, is Witcher the game. Going to be Witcher the series on Netflix. So I've never played Witcher. I don't really know what it's about, but I will check it out on Netflix because I don't have to do anything except lay there in my love seat, stuffing Cheetos in my face and enjoying it. I don't have to play it. So what is Witcher?
So
Have you?
yeah, The Witcher's it's a series. where it's kind of medieval setting, and witchers are these guys that are monster hunters. So
Yeah.
you know they use magic and they take these potions that are mutagens that actually change their body a little bit to make them better able to fight the monsters. They have a regular steel sword for non-magical creatures, and they have a silver sword for magical creatures, and they go out and they kill things that are just impossible to deal with by regular people.
Like the owner of the Redskins. Sorry. Sorry. We do not. We do not condone violence against the owner of the Redskins franchise in any manner. Grizzled Geeks would like to disavow that statement.
No matter how
Yeah,
badly he screws with the team.
I just it's the Kirk Cousins thing. I just want them to sign Kirk Cousins to a contract. I'm tired, and here's why. Every morning I get in the car, I listen to the radio, and it's all they talk about is Kirk Cousins every morning. So I'd like it to be over, please, please give him some money, pay that man his money.
Somebody sign him so they can stop talking about this thing every morning.
But Witcher the game is what we're talking about now. So when is this going to be on Netflix? Have they said, or is this still in the works?
Let me see here if they mentioned a date. I didn't see one when I read the article originally. I did see a trailer while I'm looking this up for the Castlevania game on Netflix. Or not game. They've got an animated series on there. That looked really good. It was kind of like Fist of the North Star type animation.
I thought you were going to say Defenders.
No.
The Defenders trailer that dropped fairly within the last show that we had now.
No, I haven't seen that one. Oh, yeah, here's the article. Yeah,
you haven't seen the Defenders trailer?
I have not seen the Defenders trailer. I haven't bothered. It was kind of one of those things. I hadn't finished watching Iron Fist. My son and I finally watched that. We're like maybe 6 episodes in. We're enjoying it. He still gets a little naive every once in a while, but
yeah, that's the one aspect of it that I wasn't a big fan of. Is just all the naivete of Danny Rand. But I guess that's the route they wanted to go with it, and I don't know. I like the show. So. All right, so Witcher. When is Witcher coming? Which is Witcher?
So it does not look like it has a release date.
Have they even done casting yet?
I'm not seeing anything on here. They've got a director. I know. So the Witcher has had a strange, history. So it was originally a set of books, and they did some movies in Poland. So Polish. Then they took that IP and they made the games. They became insanely popular here in the States, and now they're going back to TV on Netflix in English, I'm assuming.
Oh, they should do it in Polish and just put subtitles.
Maybe.
So much.
Yeah, so it looks like they've got an executive producer, Sean Daniel from the Mummy franchise, and Jason Brown, who was a producer on The Expanse, is involved with this. So, maybe.
Oh no, the Mummy franchise is involved.
But The Expanse, we love The Expanse.
I do. I love The Expanse. I know we were going to talk about that. I'm afraid that they're going to get Brendan Fraser to play The Witcher. That's all.
I think that Brendan Fraser is just done at this point. He's not doing anything in Hollywood. He's out.
Poor Brendan Fraser.
Poor guy.
The poor people. All right.
I need to cap that clip for the show.
And Grizzled Geeks. Grizzled Geeks would just like to say we have nothing against Brendan Fraser.
No, I think he's entertaining to watch. He just hasn't done anything recently.
No.
The last couple of movies he did were not great.
Yeah, he sort of got thrown into the category of pigeonholed in some movies that was it with the Land of Lost or whatever he did? Was that him?
Yeah, he did one of those.
Yeah, that was
maybe Journey to the Center of the Earth, I think it was. That was the one.
Yeah. So he didn't do Land of Lost. Okay.
Yeah. No, that was Oh, who was that did that?
Was
Frank
it
the
The
Tank?
Rock?
No,
Oh,
The Rock did a different one. That was Journey to the Center of the Earth Part 2. Yeah,
I, I'm dragging us so far off course. I'm sorry, but I have to know who did Land of the Lost. Who the hell was the star of Land of the
it
Lost? That was
it's
a
the
show on
comedian
Saturday
guy.
mornings. I loved Land
I
of the
can't
Lost as
remember
a
his
kid.
name. Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell did Land of the Lost.
He did.
That's funny. All
It was
right.
so bad too. Um, but that that movie was definitely all about the fan service. They had the Slee Stacks in there, and it was just completely stupid, and it was terribly done. It was just a nice throwback to the original show, but it was Will Ferrell just hamming it up and being stupid.
I'm thinking I didn't see it. Honestly, I'm thinking I was out when I saw the previews, and I was like, I'm not watching this. But maybe I need to. Not
Just
need. Maybe I'm curious enough that I would give it, 15
just
minutes.
turn your brain off and sit down and watch it, and you're good.
You're implying my brain is turned on. I would first have to find the starter and get some jumper cables and turn it on before I could turn it off.
What?
What? All right, showtime.
Showtime with the geeks. All
Showtime with
right,
you.
so I have a thing. I screwed up my soundboard. Here we
So
go.
whatever I do next, just don't hate me.
Oh, you can hate me.
Showtime with the geeks.
Feel free to hate. I can take it. I have rhinoceros skin. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about were two things kind of together. We're going to talk about the one thing first, the main thing, and that is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I almost said Game of Thrones because they have the same acronym, GOT.
yeah, there you go.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and then a little bit about Passengers, the other Chris Pratt sci-fi movie franchise. Probably not a franchise. So Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we both have seen it. That's where we
Fine.
were these past 3 weeks. We were in line getting tickets, and that's why we haven't been doing show. What did you think of it?
I enjoyed it. I mean, there were some definite problems with the movie, and some of it felt like it was direction or whatever. It felt. I enjoyed the irreverent fun of the first movie. I I liked how they didn't take themselves too seriously. I loved how the beginning of the movie it's on this dark, depressing planet, and he's scanning with alien technology, and it looks like it's going to be a serious Marvel movie in space. And then he starts dancing through the ruins in the first movie. So I loved that decision to go campy and fun. This one just felt a little too cartoony, campy. Um, I enjoyed the movie. I really enjoyed the movie. I loved the scene in the beginning when they're fighting the big space monster, and they're following around Groot with a camera, and Groot's just dancing his ass off to the music while they're fighting this big giant space monster, and he's almost getting crushed 100 times. That was a great scene. I love that. But
Yeah.
but yeah, there were some things like going through the portals and their eyes popping out like Wile E. Coyote, and all that kind of stuff. It's just whatever.
They went a little too far with that, and then they went back to it one too many times. The
Yeah.
first time, the first gag when they did it, I was kind of, I laughed. I was like, it's okay. And I was like, yeah, it's really cartoony. But when they came back and did it again, I'm like, now you're sort of gilding the lily here. We didn't need to see that a second time. Um, I liked it. I thought it was enjoyable. I didn't like it as much as the first one, I don't think. It kind of made me hope that they don't merge this franchise with the Avengers and the other Marvel franchises. I think they almost need to exist in
They're
separate
going to.
universes. I know, and
The whole Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos thing is going to be the crossover event that brings the Earth Marvel stuff to the space Marvel stuff. Thor
well,
Ragnarok is also kind of, edging those two things together.
yeah, but I think that when they get ready to bring in the Guardians, they're gonna have to set the crew down. Look, you've got to straighten up and get a little more serious. Serious business over here in Avenger world. It's not all eyes bulging out and wacky stuff like you have over there in the Guardians of the Galaxy world.
I think they did okay with Spider-Man and Ant-Man in Civil War.
Yeah.
Ant-Man
No, I like
going
Ant-Man
to
a lot.
giant size. If I rip myself in half, just, leave without me. This is awesome.
Yeah, I enjoyed that movie a lot. I've enjoyed all the other movies, and I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy. It just seemed a little bit like a standalone thing. Kurt Russell, I thought the CGI they did with making Kurt Russell young was fantastic.
Well,
My
I was
daughter
reading
said she
something
didn't
about
think
that.
it was that great.
Most of that was not CGI. It was a lot of makeup. He just looks that freaking good.
Damn it, the good Russell genetics.
I guess he's got a great plastic surgeon. I don't know.
Yeah, the guy's been doing stuff for a long time. I'm actually a big Kurt Russell fan. I think he's great. Guy's been around doing stuff forever. We've talked before about Big Trouble in Little China and
I love that movie.
The Escape from L.A., Escape from New York movies.
Those are
Call
bad
Me
movies,
Snake.
but I still love them.
They're what they are. John Carpenter.
Can't forget Captain Ron.
Oh, I don't think I ever saw Captain Ron. I even liked the stupid little romantic comedy he did with Goldie Hawn, Overboard. My wife and I loved that. We were dating. I think we went and saw it. It was what it was. You can't take it seriously.
It was about as good or bad as Captain Ron.
I got some great quotes from that movie though. It's a hell of a day at sea, sir. But yeah, so Kurt Russell, they made him look young. He was Star-Lord's dad, a planet. It was kind of interesting how they did that.
Yeah, I thought that was an okay way of doing it.
And they explained how he didn't get killed by the Infinity Stone when he had it in his hand. So that was kind of cool. So enjoyed that. It was good. Looked forward to it. Ran out and saw it.
Well, so one thing I did like about that, while Ego the living planet was a shitty father in that, the guy from the first movie, what's his name? The actor.
Rook.
Yeah, Michael
Rooker.
Rooker, yeah.
Yeah.
His character was awesome in this. Just it shows a softer side to him, raising him, Star-Lord, like a father, almost being the father that he didn't really have. I thought that was really a nice turn for the movie.
Yeah.
They didn't need Sylvester Stallone to show up in the end, but, whatever.
Now you've just hit on the one thing. The movie went on a little too long.
Oh, don't go on about the fireworks thing.
I'm going to go on about the fireworks thing in the end. It was really kind of stupid. There's no sound in space. We had this argument one day, but there's no sound in space. But
hold on before you go into this.
So whatever I do next, just don't hate me.
Go for it.
The final send off with with all the fireworks in space and everything. I didn't really need that part of it. I was a little surprised though that it went out on a sad note, with everybody crying at a funeral sort of thing. It's good that when the credits started rolling, they came back to some lighter stuff while the credits are rolling. You've mentioned one that was fantastic, Teenage Groot.
Teenage Groot was great. I am Groot.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. So I like that. So more Groot. I need more Groot. It had a lot of things going for it. I agreed with you 100% about what they did with Michael Rooker's character, whose name I can never remember. I can't remember any of their names, honestly, other than Star-Lord.
It's been weeks since I've seen this.
I know, but their names are not easy to remember. They're all over the place.
If only there were a place.
Yeah, I go to prepare a place. It's called the IMDb.
Yes. Keep going.
And so I agree with you that was a nice little touch they did. That guy raised him, Yondu. And you learn that at first you thought he was just using him because his story's always been as a tough guy that he was just using him because he was small, could get into small spaces and steal shit.
Right.
But you realize at the end the reason he didn't give him over to Ego, the planet, is because that guy was killing all of his children who didn't have his power.
Right.
He was searching for somebody who had his power. And so Yondu knew that his fate would probably be to be killed by his father, and he couldn't bring himself to be a bad guy. even though he always tried to be a bad guy. He was actually a bad guy with a good heart.
Yeah, he couldn't do it one more time. You know, he knew what had happened, or he figured it out, and he just couldn't deliver another kid to this guy to have him kill it. Even though that's what caused him to be kicked out of the Ravagers.
Yeah.
It was his way of making things right.
Yeah, it was kind of a touching ending, and I don't want to spoil what happens to him in the end in case anybody hasn't seen the movie. I think it's still out of theaters, and
Yeah,
you know we probably already have kind of spoiled the important parts, but hey, what are you gonna do? So the other thing I wanted to talk about related to this was the movie Passengers. I finally rented it. It was on in Redbox, and I rented it, and it wasn't the movie I thought it was going to be at all. I was expecting a romantic comedy, and what I
right.
really got was a pretty thoughtful and thought-provoking sci-fi movie up until the end. But it really grappled with some interesting moral dilemmas of he
Well,
wakes up accidentally on this ship alone and realizes he's got 80 years to go before they get to their destination, and he's the only one awake.
I'm just gonna totally going to spoil this one. So yeah, at this point, if you haven't seen Passengers, we're just gonna spoil the shit out of it. It's been more than 2 weeks. It's your own fault.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right.
so yeah, once the ship starts blowing up in the end, that's when kind of I turned. I was just turned off by the movie. I was done with it at that point. I
It
didn't
was a
really
little
care.
Deus ex machina sort of thing at the end, with everything kind of coming together to have a nice ending, But I think because their main gist when they started out the movie probably was the idea of what would you do if you were woken up from your state of suspended animation by a faulty pod, and you're the only one on the ship. Now, the one thing they never touched on that I thought they were going to touch on, and I wonder if they just forgot or it got clipped out and ended up on the cutting room floor, was the ship was in trouble because it hit an asteroid,
Right.
and so when he woke up, I thought the ship woke him up intentionally because he was an engineer, and the ship knew he could fix it. But
No.
they never went to that. So
Well, you would
instead,
think they would
it
wake up the
just
crew instead.
well, yeah, you would think, but then maybe the crew had to be there to finish the trip or something. The last 4 months, once they wake up and they're close to their destination to land the ship and everything. If you wake them up and then they all die of old age, then nobody's there to land the ship.
Who the hell makes
Um,
these pods to where if somebody happens to wake up in the middle of the ride, they can't get back in?
yeah, well, they said it was a trade secret. That's the company would never
Yeah,
reveal their
whatever.
secret of how they put people under. So I loved how they did the whole he's on the ship and the fact that he held out for a year before he intentionally malfunctions Jennifer Lawrence's pod and wakes her up, and then plays it off, and the romantic comedy part commences, but it's also a little dark because you realize he's stolen like her life on the planet they're going to be arriving at. She's never going to get there.
Well, she wasn't even going to stay there. She was going to make the return trip back to Earth.
Yeah, so that was kind of dark, but he agonized over. You could see him agonizing over. I don't want to do it, but I can't be alone anymore. He was going to kill himself. There was, he almost took a spacewalk without a suit because he'd been lonely and by himself for a year on a ship. And human beings aren't meant to be alone that long. We're social animals. I've told you before, if I was on the ship, I would have walked around and awoken every hot chick on the ship in the first week. But that's just me. But to last a year, he's a better man than I am. That one of the things I thought was interesting was Lawrence Fishburne's character. He comes in and he delivers two of the best lines in the ship or
Who
in
the
the show.
who the hell planted a tree in my ship?
No. He was the best line I thought was one of them was "Ladies love the dress blues" when he's dying. That was kind of
Right.
sad, but that was a good one. But the other one was, and it's really poignant because I think it's the thing that gives Jennifer Lawrence the permission to forgive him when she finds out that he woke her up, and they are living apart now. She hates his guts because he's a creeper. He woke her up and seduced her into a relationship and everything, and um, he says to her, a drowning man will pull somebody under with him, and he did such a good job of playing it off when he realizes um, what Pratt did, and that when he's working on the pod and he realizes it was intentionally sabotaged. You see the realization come over his face, and he starts to get angry, and you see him think about it, and he realized this guy's been on the ship alone for a year. I can't judge him because I don't know what I would do in that situation. So I thought it was a really well thought out science fiction thing up to that point. And I think that was
up till they had to go find the replacement part of the computer and then push it in there, and he's got to sacrifice himself in the end for her to relieve pressure in the core or whatever. That just got stupid. And then
yeah, but
the fact that she forgives him magically after that, because he saved her, and then she saves him, and then
they save each other, and then they decide not to go into the pod and leave him alone again, and yeah, I don't know, it got kind of sappy at the end, but that's all right. I thought it was kind of an interesting movie. It wasn't a bad movie. It was better than I thought it was going to be, and it was good to see Chris Pratt in another franchise, and Jennifer Lawrence. Anything she's in is worth watching. Mostly. Um, Staying in space, The Final Frontier, The Expanse, Season 2. Now, I'm going to do something in reverse order here because I'm reminded of it by the fact that I've said many times in the show, I love The Expanse. I think it's one of the best television shows I've ever seen on television. We've been kicking around this idea of doing an all-time best TV shows, the top 10. And we have a list that's much longer than that. And we're looking for other people to give us their opinion on what they think the all-time best TV shows are. Now, I did a little blog diatribe on our website, grizzledgeeks.com, where I talked about the state of TV today and how things have changed, and there's been sort of a paradigm shift in the quality of shows on television, or at least the quality of shows on the options, the growth of other options on television, that it's no longer just broadcast network TV. You have these other outlets that you can go to, and some of the quality of the shows there is just outstanding. And The Expanse is one of those shows from Sci-Fi Channel that I think is just an outstanding television show. You finally finished season 2. What did you think of season 2?
So, I mean, I enjoyed it. I wasn't sure about the whole alien thing. I love the whole tension between, Earth and Mars, and this. I don't quite get the motivations of this guy who invented or who discovered this protomolecule and is trying to weaponize it. I really don't understand what his angle is, but I'm enjoying the show. It's always kept me engaged, and it feels like they've got room to grow.
They do an interesting thing on that show. Sometimes when you're watching an episode that you think is going to be a filler episode, where not a lot in the big broader story is going to happen, and you're going along, and then suddenly, bam, something happens that pulls you into that episode, and you're like, wow, this episode, even though it seemed at first like it was going to be a filler episode, is actually a really good episode. There's some sort of conflict or something happening that's pretty heavy, and it pulls you in. They continue to grow the characters and make them deeper and deeper. I cannot remember the name of the character who plays the tough guy on the ship, but
Amos.
I love the fact they keep peeling back other layers of Amos, and you see just more and more of his character and his motivation and things. And the character growth on the show is really good. I love the way they do space and the special effects. I don't know what's gonna happen with the Venus thing. It was kind of sad, Thomas Jane crashing into Venus. But now that they have the crystal thing is growing on Venus, there's the possibility that he could come back as blue Thomas Jane, like the girl
same way that
found.
the girl was.
Yeah, and they could be making little blue babies. Maybe, who knows?
They
maybe
could be,
little blue
the
babies.
intelligence behind the molecule, kind of guiding it and growing it or whatever on the planet.
And maybe they'll
I
learn.
can't remember which one it is at this point.
They'll learn to whistle, and they'll have a little flying dart thing. It'll be great.
Crossing the
streams.
Crossing the streams.
As long as they're not Smurfs, that would be terrible. Papa Smurf. Maybe that would be great. Venus becomes Smurfville. That's a Smurfing great time they have there.
So who gets to play Gargamel? Anyway, you want to wrap things up here?
with Hellboy.
Oh, right, we did have the one thing. So
That's
just
the
quick
one.
mention: Hellboy reboot. It's Mike Mignola's involved. Guillermo del Toro is not involved anymore. So unfortunately, I love the first two movies. You're less into them than I was. Um,
Yeah, I like them, but I just realized, holy crap, we had 10 people on Twitch. That's a new high for me. So
hey,
I looked up. Last time I looked up, it was one, and then suddenly it was 10 people's.
yeah, they've been there
Unless
for
I'm
a few minutes
unless
with
I'm
us
seeing things. I
renting
got bad
on TV.
vision. So I
Um,
could be seeing double vision.
But anyway, so David Harbour, the guy, the sheriff from Stranger Things, is going to be the new Hellboy. I'm kind of interested to see what he does with the character. It's supposed to be darker and grittier and closer to the comics. So while I would have loved to see the third final movie that they had, set out for the original series, um, I'm, I love Hellboy, so I'd like to see something closer to Mike Magnola's original work.
Yeah, I like the first one. Okay, I thought the ending was pretty cool. I don't think I ever saw the second one, and I don't really know why. It must just not popped up on my radar at all.
I love
Um,
the effects from the second one. Guillermo del Toro does an amazing job making creatures in his films. Um, everything that he does. The the kaiju in Pacific Rim, the ghosts in Crimson Peak. All the
yeah.
creatures in the Hellboy movies. Pan's Labyrinth. The creepy creatures in there are all amazingly well done. So I love to see the things that he brings to life on screen, and that was kind of what did it so well for me for the Hellboy movies. It was just bringing these creatures to life. And the second one, they had this giant tree creature, and the fight between him
Groot.
and not Groot, like
Oh,
three
I
or
am
four
Groot.
stories tall and vibrant green.
I am Groot.
So yeah, seeing the that brought to life on screen was a real treat. I was less enthusiastic about the Golden Army, but whatever.
Uh, I'll have to go rent it because I haven't seen it.
I've got it
Once
on I've got it on Blu-ray. I can just let you borrow it.
I'm still trying to get through. I bought this 5 movie pack of the Final Destination movies, and we've slowly been watching them one at a time. And when I watch those movies for a couple of days while I'm driving in my car and stuff, I'm looking for death everywhere. I'm like, is that a sign? Is that a sign?
You're waiting for the log to bounce off the truck in front of you and then plow through the front of your windshield and to kill you instantly.
That's right. Today, when I was going to go get boards to finish the deck, I was telling my son, I was like, well, we may have to we have to stick them all the way up onto the dashboard and leave the back part of the van open to get the 12-footer in there. And he's like, I don't know, Dad, that's too much like Final Destination. That's just asking for trouble. I'm like, well, great. My art has leaked into my real world and screwed me out of getting my deck boards that I need. Uh,
Okay, so let's wrap things up. So you already talked
all
about
right.
the best TV shows. We can do that next time. So if
You
you
know what?
guys have suggestions,
Why
go
don't I
ahead.
just run through the list of things we've thrown out there so far very quickly before we start? Talk a little bit about the criteria. Do you want to do that or not?
Yeah,
Do you
go
want to
ahead.
just make it? All right. So, fictional, non-based, story-based, non-sitcoms, serial shows, meaning there's more than one episode and preferably more than one season, not a miniseries, that are the most entertaining, enjoyable, watchable, must-see TV today. So the factors that we consider for this are the entertainment value, the quality of the writing, the quality of the acting, the characters, and the production quality of the show itself. And so here's the list of things that we've thrown out for what we think are the new classic great shows. Sherlock from BBC, Game of Thrones from HBO, Dexter from Showtime, Breaking Bad from AMC, Daredevil from Netflix, Longmire from AMC and Netflix, The Expanse from Sci-Fi, Justified from FX, The Sopranos, HBO, which is really, if you read my blog, it's the show that started it all. Walking Dead from AMC, Battlestar Galactica remake on Sci-Fi, Luther on BBC, Doctor Who. We had to put Doctor Who in there because we're both Whovians. Black Mirror, BBC and Netflix, Orphan Black, BBC, Deadwood, HBO, The Strain, FX, Black Sails on Stars, Sons of Anarchy, Vikings, Lost, Downton Abbey, and my daughter made me put Outlander on there, and I don't even know what it is. So those are the ones we have so far. If you have more shows that you think are worthy of being considered, and you'll notice I don't have a lot of network TV shows on there because once you've seen other quality shows, it's hard to get back to the cookie cutter recipe they use on network TV.
Right.
Those are the shows, in my opinion. We're looking for other input from other people, and we're going to pare those down to the 10 best shows, and then maybe down to the best 5, and then we'll argue vehemently over which we think is the best of all time.
I think we can go head to head, my 5 versus yours.
That's right. My 5 will break you, and they will kill your master. All right, so that's all I got this week. You got anything else?
No, just wanted to say if you want to follow us or tweet your pick for a best TV show to us at Geeks, and then check out the website at grizzledgeeks.com, and then just give us a follow here if you want to catch us live. We stream about once a week for the show, Saturday nights at starting 8:30, 9ish, more or less.
More or less. Hopefully we get back into rhythm doing it every week. That would be good.
All right, so with that, I'm Mitch.
And I'm Todd.
And we are the Grizzled Geeks. Thank you.
Thanks.